Double Barrel Podcast, everyone. My name is Justin. This is my co-host, Chris. We have an apology to make. Episode 3 had some technical difficulties. So this episode's going to be a little bit different.
This is actually, I'm really excited for this one, though.
This one, I am excited for this one, too. So on this podcast, we talk about, again, all things firearms, all things alcohol. Part of all things firearms is, well, what do you use hot firearms for? Good majority of the time in this country.
Hunting.
Is hunting. So we're going to talk about
hunting.
Our hunting gear and the things that we brought with us and the things we found useful, things we found that we didn't need.
Things we wish we would have had.
Things we wish we would have had that we still don't. And things that we brought along and went,
could take it or leave it.
This is dead weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start at the most basic of the basic for
hunting vest.
Hunting.
You're orange.
You're orange. Now, we wore these King's Camo
soft shell
vests, and I'll be honest, I only have one complaint.
It was too hot for them for 2 days. I think 2 of the days we got into the 70s up there, and those things cooked the crap out of them.
I mean, we got into the 70s, and even when we were just had our rifle slung over our back,
they were too warm. But a great vest. I love mine.
Think about this, folks. We're hunting in October. It snowed on us while we were up there, and we're saying the vest was too warm. I think that's a very good complaint.
That's a good complaint. Well, in all fairness, though, 2 days before it snowed, what was Sunday? It was almost 80 degrees.
It did get almost, I think we were like 77.
It was enough to make you go, that is just, it was way too warm.
I wish we had something a little bit more breathable and a little bit lighter.
But we used them for 9 days.
We did use them for 9 days. They were fantastic vests. They made it super easy to see each other as we split up as we were hiking
great.
through the woods. They were great vests. They held everything we needed to.
Well, and they kept us dry. I think that was the other important part. Is it's not only enough to keep you warm in the field. Did it keep you dry? And it did.
I mean, from the exterior elements, kept us dry. From the interior elements,
we soaked.
We got soaked on the warmer days. But even then, I mean.
Great vest.
Fantastic.
I think I bought them $70 a piece is what I got them for. I felt like it was I really felt like it was $70 well spent. I really do. They fit pretty true to size too.
They do, well,
little big.
I think they ran a little snug.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
For one reason and one reason only.
Zip up or was it in the shoulders?
They ran a little big lengthwise.
Okay.
And they ran a little small, in my opinion, across the chest.
Okay.
So, you know,
because I think you had what, an XL, and I had a large.
Yeah, but my XL, which is the normal size I wear in jackets and coats and things, when I put on my jacket underneath on those colder days,
it was a little tight. Yeah, I did see that.
And I feel like they should have taken that into account.
Right, that you're gonna have layers on underneath.
You might have a layer or two on underneath.
Because let's be honest, that's not a vest you're gonna wear even on the weekends. It's a hunting vest. It's a blaze orange hunting vest. Overall, though, great product.
Oh yeah, overall great product. We're only gonna just give these an overall score of 1 to 5.
4.
As to whether or not it was something we liked the product and it was something we wanted. If you're giving that 4, I'm laugh at you. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 because I only had.
You know what? 4.5 is probably a better score because you're right. The only complaint we had is it was too warm, and that's our
really
only complaint.
Complaint. And the other thing is just minor note, hanging a little bit wider in the chest, a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Because mine went chin to crotch almost.
Mine was choking me out a little bit too because again though, nothing that really would make me go, I'm not going to use it next year. I'm going to use it next year. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going to use mine next year. 4.5 on the vest. It is definitely something you want with you. And the King's Camo soft shell vest. Yeah, perfect product for what we were doing.
And I don't think it was overpriced either. Like I know, like some of the other vests that you see out there, they're over $100. That one, I actually really thought it was priced really well.
No, I priced really well because it's great material. I mean,
oh yeah,
we took it through trees, bushes.
We probably took it through some areas that it probably shouldn't have been in.
I mean,
Well, or not that it should have been in, that it could have gotten really messed up.
It could have got really messed up. And when we say trees and bushes, we mean real thick stuff.
I touch a tree.
I mean, I touch a tree.
Yeah, there was a couple times we got into that crap.
Just so you know, folks, the first time he said that, he reached over and touched me, and I'm about 3 feet away from him. The second time when I said it, I touched my microphone that's about 2 inches in front of my face.
I know. There was some ones that we really got into.
There were some ones that we got into that were...
Well, and the thing is, we'll just wrap this up with the vest. It's something you have to have if you're going to hunt. You are required by law to wear blaze orange.
You are. And so you have to have blaze orange, but this King's Camo one...
Spend the money, get a nice one that fits you. I, however, feel like it hit a little bit above its weight class for cost. So I really enjoy it.
I mean, I really enjoy it as well. I think it did a great job. We even climbed a few rocks on it, which could have ripped this thing to shreds.
Oh, dude,
it held up really, really well. King's Camo vest
great
for the
vest.
win.
Let's go next to my binos there.
You want to go to the binos here?
Yeah.
So, binoculars.
Another essential tool.
An essential tool, depending on the way that you're hunting.
I like these ones. These ones I feel like were really good. I know you particularly don't care for them. You like the variable zoom.
I like my variable zoom Bushnells, but we're just talking about binoculars overall for hunting. Mm-hmm. That really depends on the style of hunting you want to go do. Because here's the thing, as we were driving around and scouting for places to go, the binos were great. They were absolutely essential as we were spotting for places.
And I think those are I got 12 by 50 Diamondbacks right there. Is what I bought.
Yeah, you got the 12 by 50 Diamondback HDs from Vortex, which
I think I paid $250 for them, $220.
Not bad glass, but I felt like they were kind of a 50-50. Used them but didn't, because as soon as we went out and started hiking, they never got used again.
Well, let's talk about this then.
The reason they didn't get used is because we were hiking through thick timber.
But let's look at it this way, though. Okay, what do you think would be a good? Because your
well, like I said, it's
binoculars that you used are very old. They're very outdated style.
They're old, outdated style, but I don't think that has any effect on my opinion here.
No, I don't think so either. Do you think the 10 by 50 though was a good choice?
The 12 by 50 is a great choice. I mean, I spent a lot of my time on my variable zoom Bushnells, which were 7 to 15.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time between 7 and 10.
Right. 12, and where we were at, let's be honest, I feel like if you did a 10 or 12, I definitely feel like you need at least a 50 mil objective though on the end. I think if you did, now mind you, this is kind of like a lower mid tier that Vortex has in their Diamondback series. The Vipers were like 550 or 600. I personally, and this is my opinion, my brother-in-law has a pair of Leopolds. If I'm going to go spend $500 to $600 on a pair of binos, probably going to migrate over to the Leopold. I feel like the glass was just, when I looked through his and I used his, I felt like the glass was just that much better. However, if you need a pair of binos that's not going to break the bank, but that's going to do good and hold up. I mean, I took that thing through just as much crap as I did the vest, and they performed very well. I do not disagree with these.
Love the Vortex glass. They do phenomenally well. I don't particularly like how close together they feel all the time.
I am going to say one thing though. I wear glasses. I'm able to keep my glasses on and actually use those. I think that's a huge selling point for people that have glasses and don't wear contacts or are unable to wear contacts. For guys like you that don't have that issue, you guys, it's not something you really think about.
No.
I don't know. I'm
not trying to say that they're
I know you're not.
Product.
They're not. I give them a 5.
I mean,
for what they are, I give them a 5.
As far as bringing them with you hunting,
mm-hmm.
They are one of those things that you're going to use, again, about half the time.
Depending on where you're at.
Because, again, with my binos, I mean, half the time I left them in the truck, half the time, some of the time I took them with me. It depends on where you're at.
Mine were with us the whole time, though. Mine always came.
Yours always came, but as far as them needing to, I don't think they...
I think they helped us out a little bit. Here, I don't know. What's your score though?
You know, as far as the Diamondback HDs go, I'm gonna give them a 3.
Okay, why? I'm curious.
Again, I don't like how close together they feel all the time.
Okay, that's fine.
When I use them, I feel like they're squishing in my face.
Oh, okay, and that's fair.
And that's part of why I like my old Bushnells. Those ones I give a 5. Those were solid.
Well, they're old school.
I don't care. They're solid. They worked.
I'm not disagreeing.
They are old school, but they're a well-made piece of glass.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. Bushnell used to make. I mean, I still think Bushnell does make some good products. They just don't make them like they used to. Alrighty, so let's move on to the rangefinder. Speaking of Bushnell,
you got the Bushnell Prime rangefinder here.
I think it's 1,200 yard, reflective, 1,000 fur.
Now, this is where you and I agree on 90% of it. And there's 10% of it
I got it on sale for $100. I wasn't gonna. It's a rangefinder.
And rangefinders are great. I think they're more of a learning tool than a practical in the field tool.
The only reason why I kind of feel like I had it on my hip maybe 40% of the time. The only reason why it went with us was when we were getting into some areas we knew that there were going to be questionable ranges and
possible longer shots.
Like there was a couple areas we got into where, I'm not gonna lie, you and I both looked and we're like, well, I think that's 300 yards, and I ranged it. I'm like, dude, that's 6.
Yeah, no, and that's again. I feel like this is more of a learning tool than a practical tool. I think this is something that your first few years hunting, if you have a specific area that you like, take it out. Use it, range a bunch of different things while you're in that area.
Right.
Kind of learn how.
Well, the other idea,
your area.
The other reason why I think it would be practical in the field for even an experienced hunter is the simple fact of, if you are in an area where you're doing like an overwatch, kind of like how we were the first couple days on those cliffs. Right. We were looking at the draw because we're setting up for a long haul, so we had time to. Okay, what's the bottom of the draw? All right, 300. Okay, I'm glad I did that because I thought that was 250.
What's the bottom of the draw? What's that tree down there?
Landmarks. Finding the landmarks.
We were able to find landmarks and actually range those out, and so we knew.
I think that's the practicality of that.
No, I'm not saying it's not practical.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I just feel like it's one of those.
Oh, you're not going to do this. Here, let me say that real quick.
You're not going to walk down the trail and.
Yeah, you're not going to be like, hey, look, there's a deer. Hold on, let me range him real quick. No.
This is where like you set up landmarks and things, but this is where I feel like, again, if you're going into the same area every year,
you start learning more and
more. So I do recommend it, especially for new hunters and new shooters.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Help train your eyes on what distances you're looking at.
Now, in all fairness, I'm going to score it a 4, and here's why. You have, I think, like a $60 rangefinder. I personally feel like anymore with rangefinders, it's like I'm not seeing. Like, I've used the Vortex, I've used the Maven, I've used the Bushnell, I've used, what is yours, a Tidwell, a Tidwee?
Mine's a Tidwee.
A Tidwee. I don't see, like, this one I think is only like $200. I literally got it half off, and I said, whatever. It went the distance I wanted it to go, because I think your Tidwee goes out to what, 6?
No, my Tidwee goes out to 1,000.
Is it out to 1,000? Okay. I just don't see the difference, and this is just my opinion, between the $60 Tidwee to the, I think the Mavens are 500. I'm like, I mean, that has arc angle, and it's pretty accurate. Your Tidwee's got arc angle. That's even accurate.
My Tidwee does speed, too.
See, that's the thing, is I don't feel like, obviously get a rangefinder.
Get a rangefinder.
Don't spend a crap ton of money on one.
No. Again, my Tidwee rangefinder is a $60 rangefinder. It goes out to 1,000 yards. It's got a 4x zoom. It's got an adjustable
that one's only got
focus.
2. That one's only 2.
Yeah, mine's a 4x zoom.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's got a variable focus, so you can focus in on what you're looking at.
All right.
It's actually got it's got a tripod
post. Oh yeah, you got the post on the bottom too. Yeah.
Yours doesn't.
No.
And again,
don't spend a lot of money on them.
Don't spend a lot of money on them. but use them as a learning tool, a training tool.
Yes.
I
still think we'll at least take one of ours out in the field when we go hunting, no matter what.
think
it's
we
just
will.
a good tool we'll have.
And again, we're going to range landmarks until we learn the area we're in better.
Well, even if we get into an area that we've been in before, we're still going to go, hey,
I don't remember.
I don't remember. And we're going to go bam, bam, bam. And then we're going to have our landmarks and we're going to be able to gauge everything in between.
Right.
So what do you give it? I give it a 4.
As far as, just using a rangefinder overall for hunting, I'm going to give it a 4 as well.
Yeah, I agree. I want to get into those last, by the way. I know, but I want to get into last. We're going to do some suspense here.
We're fine. We'll get into this mystery package at the end. I'm going to set it right here.
That's fine.
Just to taunt everyone.
I know you want to get into that.
I want to get into that.
And I think I might know your Christmas present this year.
Well, if I see one of these under the tree, I will be ecstatic. Now, rangefinder, again, 4. It's one of those, use it as tool. Yes, bring it till you...
But don't spend a lot of money on one. Don't rely on it as much.
Don't rely on it, and don't spend a ton of money on it.
No.
Like, I wouldn't even spend $100 on it.
And again, though, it's one of those things where I got it on a good deal.
You did.
All right, let's get into something that you should bring multiple pairs of. Gloves.
These are a couple of the light duty gloves.
Yeah, it's one of my light pairs. Here's the thing. I have how's it pronounced? Sitka?
I believe it's Sitka. Yeah.
Sitka. I have Sitkas and I have Under Armours. Here's the thing, guys.
I mean,
whatever fits. They're lightweight gloves. I mean,
I got Hunter Pros from
and you got
Cow Ranch.
And then I have I always have a pair of gauntlets. I have Carhartts because I like Carhartts, but that's just, again, have multiple pairs of gloves, have a couple lightweight sets, take some gauntlets with you.
Oh yeah, and the gloves are a good thing for multiple reasons. Again, we went into some thick timber. We did a little mild rock climbing while we were out there.
Yeah,
we were only climbing things like 3, 4, 5 feet high.
Yeah, it's still. They were nice to have.
They were nice to have. I mean, there was a section that I had taken my gloves off because
I think you punctured yourself, didn't you?
And I punctured my palm.
Yeah, you did.
But if I'd had the gloves on, I feel like I wouldn't have.
Well, and I would also recommend getting some that are textured. Like these ones have textured palms. Like these ones have the index finger split.
I do recommend the index finger split on at least your shooting hand, just because you can get a better feel on your trigger, and you'll be able to more precisely pull the trigger.
Well, like on my Sitkas, they don't even have the thumb and the index finger. They're cut off right here at the knuckle on the thumb and the index finger. So those are more like, I was using those on the hotter days that got up there. I use these ones the majority of the time. I think 70% of the time, these are the gloves that I was using every day. There were 2 days when it snowed that I swapped out to the gauntlets, and I think there was like 2 days that I was using the Sitkas because
now
those got soaking wet.
They did, and that's why you bring multiple pairs. Because if these get wet, and especially if you're out in a tent, you may not have a spot to effectively dry those.
Correct.
I didn't switch to the gauntlets because I was using a bolt action rifle where you were using a semi.
Right.
And my gauntlet kept getting caught in my bolt as we were training with it, and so...
Well, and that's the thing I know you tried at camp because you wanted to see... Because even though you effectively were able to get your finger in there to pull the trigger, you're like, okay, that's the first test. I remember you saying, then all of a sudden you go, okay, let's pull the bolt back on my 110 here and see if I... And then I just remember that it was the index finger or the middle finger. The glove physically got caught as you brought the bolt
One
down.
of my fingers, as I would slid the bolt forward and locked it back into place, it caught my finger and...
Yeah, I mean, it solved the problem there. It was still, you had them in your bag. All right.
Oh, I had them in case it got really cold. I just knew that if I needed to take a shot, I had to rip it off.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's do this. I feel like it's unfair to give the gloves. I'd say a 5. And here's why. Get gloves that you want, that are comfortable to you. You don't have to spend a crap ton of money on them, but it is a necessity piece of equipment that you should have on you. Multiple pairs.
Because, you're going to want some lightweight ones, not just for hand protection, but, on a...
We get sweaty. Palms get sweaty.
On a mildly cold day.
It's going to help.
It's going to help. But then, like say, your palms get sweaty, and you don't want to get that all over your rifle.
Nope.
So you get something like this with the texture in there, and the ones I have have different texture in them.
Right, but it's still textured.
But it's still textured. So yes, gloves I feel like are a 5 out of 5 essential must bring
I
piece of
agree.
equipment.
I'm going to go ahead and do real quick. We didn't get to really use it. We did set it up a few times, though, and it did get a lot of use this time.
It got more use as a walking stick.
Yeah, there were a couple times, though, where we set up and we were doing stakeout type deal. We were doing Overwatch, where...
You used it for that, but this is one that I think you and I are going to disagree on.
I don't think it's a necessity. It's a nice tool.
It's a nice tool, but at the end of the day...
I don't think it's something that you... I'll probably keep it on the pack just because of the type of hunting you and I do. It's a nice tool to have if we're in... It's a situational tool. It's a shooting stick.
It's a very situational tool.
And we have bipods on all of our guns.
I agree.
It's almost a redundancy.
It's a redundancy. Personally, I would have left it back at camp, and you know what?
It doesn't even weigh anything, though. That's the thing, is why I didn't mind putting it in the bag.
It doesn't weigh anything, but every little thing adds up. We talked about this. I mean, especially with what we were doing, which was hiking 8, 9, 10 miles a day.
Pound for pound is what we were going for.
You know, it was weight that I felt like
could have been used at other places. I mean,
could have been better used to something else.
It's a good stick. I don't know. I feel like...
I mean, as far as the product itself...
It's a great product.
Great product. Unnecessary as far as hunting, I think.
I still think I'll keep it in the bag. I mean, it gyros even. Like, I'm able to gyro it. It needs a little WD-40 in there, but...
I mean, we filled it full of...
dirt and sand and mud and crud. But it's still... I liked it. Again, it's not a necessity. I think that's more of a luxury item.
This is
in
a
all
luxury
reality
item and a personal preference item. Mm-hmm. This is your stick.
Yeah.
I don't have one, and I've never felt the need to buy one.
And I don't think the average hunter needs it. I feel like you said, it was more of a walking stick. But if the opportunity arose where we couldn't get the biopods out, but we felt like we needed that extra stability, it was just a click, boom. Now the one I feel like if you're going to use for more of a walking stick is the one my brother-in-law has, and he has the Primos one that has the quick release lever where it drops and can move. That one, they're both around the same pricing. They're both around $60 to $75. The Primos one does not have the triple leg throw. It's just got the standard post. I almost feel like for the application you and I were hunting in, the Primos shooting stick would have been a better option. That's my personal opinion. If you're going to have a shooting stick, though.
Yeah, and see, again, my opinion on it was it was a waste of weight.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway.
Now, I will get into one thing, though, that I will say was a waste of weight, though. You and I both had those shovel pick.
We both did bring a field shovel multi-tool.
I think I might actually still have mine in here. Keep talking. Let me dig it out.
It's in there somewhere. I don't know that we need to pull it out.
But again, I don't feel like it was a necessary.
I mean, you had yours, I had mine. We talked about it on day one, and we pulled yours out of your bag, threw it in the truck, and left it there until we went home. Mine, we brought with us
just so one of us had one.
So we had a shovel because we wanted to be responsible. We answer nature's call in the woods and dig a hole so nobody else had to see it or step on it. But we never used it.
No, it was
so.
It wasn't. Again,
it's a one. You might need it, but
you might not.
Most of the time, you're probably not.
I am going to get into what everybody does need to carry in their bag.
This.
That's a make or break right there.
I disagree.
Really?
I disagree. I don't think it's a make or break. I think it is something that everybody should have some of, but maybe not this much.
I think it got, 1,000 there?
This is 1,000-pound paracord. I'm looking and I don't see.
I think it's 5,250.
Yeah, it's probably a 500 or 250.
Like, the only reason why you and I really carry that, if you're going to go backpack hunting like we do, that to me is you gotta have something. Have paracord.
Have paracord.
We have
Now-
we have carabiners too, because that are actually rated, that are climbing carabiners, because again, the type of hunting you and I do, we would use them if we got a take, if we harvested.
You say that, but we did get a take this year and we still didn't use them.
I don't want to hear about it. You shot him 30 feet off the road.
And I know you're going to continue to give me crap for that, but that's just where he was.
Oh, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying, though, again, in that aspect, though, if we're going where you took your deer, all of this was irrelevant except for one thing on the table. Maybe two things.
I agree. But that's, again, this depends on what type of hunting you're doing.
Yeah.
This is just the stuff that we brought, and that, after our time in the field, what we felt was necessary. You do need to bring rope. I don't know that you need to go with you in the field,
Right.
but you need to have it at your camp at least, because you take your kill, you got to string him up in the tree.
You got to do something.
You got to do something with him. This one, I will agree with you, is everybody should have
light.
and not just light. This is powerful light.
Very.
With yours doesn't dim, doesn't it?
No, it's focusing, but like I have a headlamp.
I mean, I recommend having both the hand light and the headlamp. Because if you're out there and you get stuck out, night starts falling, you don't make it out as quickly as you think you
Thought you were going to? Absolutely. And that's happened to us a couple times. You're walking out by headlamp.
You're walking out by headlamp.
Or you're walking in.
Or by hand light. Walking in, I recommend, if you're going out that early,
Red light, yeah. Have one that does the red.
have one that does a
Yeah.
red light. Flashing red light. Anyway, so yeah, this absolutely must have
tools.
item.
Now, I had this. My wife found these for me. I liked them. If you're out in the woods, you get stuck. We almost got stuck in that storm, dude.
We did, but waste of space.
He's just a sore loser.
Sore loser. I started the fire every night without one of those.
I know. You gonna argue that? To start a fire?
Yes and no.
Okay.
And this, just so you know, folks, he just tossed me a baggie and said, "You're gonna argue that?" In the baggie is a flint and steel. Now, this particular one has a whistle and everything on it, so
It's the way it came.
it's a survival tool, emergency tool. Now, my problem with flint and steel is unless you know how to use it,
I know.
it's useless.
Well, I've also got a Zippo, and I've got one of those butane lighters too in here.
You do.
I have probably 5 different ways to start fire.
But again, unless you know how to use flint and steel,
I know.
they're useless.
Learn how to use
I
it.
recommend learning how to use it and having one, because they're lightweight and simple survival
They're
tools.
simple survival tools. The other thing I bought, again, I didn't use it. Again, people, these are more of, oh crap, we're in trouble. Where
I'm
we go
really
hunting.
screwed.
Yeah, when we're really screwed, which almost happened a couple times, I'm not going to lie. We get into some areas where we don't have cell phone service. We do not have the capability to access any type of cell phone, internet, etc. I have a compass. I have a standard military compass.
Right, and they're great. I do recommend having
Some form of a compass.
some form of compass.
Because at nighttime, you may know exactly where you're at in the daytime. As soon as it gets dark out there, though, it's so easy to get turned around.
Right, but I highly recommend having
Some form of compass.
some form of compass.
I just bought that one because it's metal, it's beefier, just something that, again, you don't need to spend a lot of money on one. I think all of my emergency stuff, between starting a fire, the compass, the flashlight, I'm maybe $40, $50 maybe. And I also have a Zippo lighter in there, and I have the butane lighters.
Right, but yeah, no, compass is good. I recommend having one just in case anytime you go out in the woods.
Here's the thing. I'm lumping all this together as emergency equipment, like starting a fire, finding your way home. It's a 5. You gotta have something. Maybe not to the extent I have in mine, because I have multiple ways of doing it. Because I'm not gonna lie, I get a little paranoid about it.
I mean,
I can honestly
those
say
survival flint and steels had a compass on them, but you went out and you bought a bigger, more robust compass.
Yeah.
So I recommend having some survival stuff, but at the same time, don't just buy it. Buy it and learn how to use it. So if you've never used it before, buy 2. Practice on one, take the other.
Oh, yeah.
Keep yourself safe out in the field. How many times have we said it to each other? Said it to each other and to our listeners and viewers. Safety is high on our list of priorities. It always has been. So survival gear, I recommend have 5 out of 5. Keep it with you.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, even if you're driving around doing road hunting, keep it with you
Always good.
You never know when you're gonna have truck problems. Things will break down. So keep some survival gear with you, but practice with it.
Learn how to use it. Know how to use it.
Use it in your backyard, at home, so you know how it works.
Don't burn the house down. Alrighty, we're gonna get into clothing here. I bought these this year for one reason only. I didn't want to be cold and wet, so I spent the money on some Kryptek gear.
And I mocked you for it.
In the end, though, it did its job. However, I will say this much. Unless you are 180 pounds and you're 6'4", do not buy Kryptek. I feel like these did really good at keeping me warm. They did really, really good at keeping me dry. However, they don't fit well. They did not fit well.
I'm wearing, these
red cap
work
did
pants
just as good.
That did just as good as these, and I mean, depending on the animal you're going for, I think determines the level of camo you need.
Again, I didn't buy them for the camo. I think this is like a Shadow Sage. I didn't really care about the camo. I cared about more the application and what the clothing was going to do for me. And this was just a long sleeve shirt. Again, it's too small. Like I wear a large. I had to buy an extra large. It almost feels like a medium. I do not think Kryptek is worth the money. I paid $70 for the pants, $40 for the shirts. I don't agree with it.
I spent $30 on this pair of pants.
Yep.
I wore just standard T-shirts and long sleeve shirts.
And you were
up
fine.
At freaking Walmart.
You're fine, yeah, and I get that.
I feel like I'm comparison here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I feel like my stuff did just as good keeping me warm and dry as your stuff.
And I'll agree with that. Like I almost felt like holy crap, I should have just gone down to the Carhartt store and just bought Carhartt at this point. Because at $70, I'm not going to lie, I was expecting
better.
A lot better.
But yeah, no, these, and again, especially in the camo pattern, because we talked about it. I got my deer this year on the side of the road from a truck. Like you
didn't shoot him for the truck. You jumped out and shot him.
I say from the truck because I jumped out, walked 5 feet from the truck off the dirt trail.
Busted him.
The truck's not camo. Truck's far from camo.
Here's the thing. When camo, I think, starts really coming into play is the simple fact of archery. Well, that's where camo starts becoming irrelevant. I feel like a relevant tool.
I feel like the camo is only relevant is if you're going to be sitting in the same spot watching the same thing all day.
Exactly. Archery.
And then it's worth it. One other thing that we brought that is not on the table here.
I can put it on the table because I really like this thing. I know you don't. I think it was worth the money.
Oh, the backpack?
Yeah.
So, a backpack is good.
Yes.
A backpack is essential. And let's flip this around here, Chris. One thing, having these shoulder vents will help keep you drier.
I love this thing.
You were drier than I was, so I get one with. If you're gonna hike around all day, get one with the shoulder pads, the separators, and because that keeps air flowing here. It keeps
and it's
drier.
light. This backpack's light.
Backpack is super light, but
It's
again,
durable.
get one with the pads to keep some separation between the bag and the back, and then it has the chest and the waist straps because those will help distribute the weight better. The bag that I have is not quite as nice as yours. It doesn't have those pads, but it still has the waistband and the shoulder strap. My bag is also still very light. They held about the same amount of gear, but mine was a cheaper version, but they both accomplished the same task.
I agree. Last year I had your basic military bug out backpack. I think it just sucked for hunting, in all honesty. I went and spent the $280, whatever that thing cost off. I think it's pronounced Kiwi. Someone correct us on that. I'm sorry.
QUIU. If you are watching as an employee of the brand and we have butchered the name,
We apologize because I really love the product.
No.
And this is the 3000. This is the backpack 3000. And this, I personally,
I
agree.
your bag.
I would spend the money again for it. I would.
like your bag.
It's great, but it is an expensive backpack. However, though, I think the only reason I would ever need to buy another backpack is if I chose to at that point.
Yeah.
That is I will probably hunt with that for at least 5 years.
I'm probably going to hunt with mine until the stitching starts coming.
See, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know how long it's going to take.
Mine, I don't even remember the brand of mine, and
It's just Amazon special, but it's fine. It works. It's great.
Well, it's an Amazon bag, but it's got the 4 pockets.
It's a good backpack
with a detachable like fanny pack thing on there. Mine has the Molly webbing, so I could actually. It's modular.
Right.
But both of the bags have a spot for a Camelback water
Oh yeah,
bladder.
the Camelback. Yeah.
I highly recommend one of those. It makes
absolutely.
It's quieter than a water bottle. Easier to access than a water bottle.
Yep.
And
it's easier to pack around. Yeah. Exactly. It's just a win-win.
The bladders we brought were 2-liter bladders.
I drink a lot, so mine. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, yours did just fine when we actually started filling it up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't think it really added that much more. I couldn't feel any more weight, really.
No, just the way that the bladders distribute the weight in the backpacks, you really don't feel the extra weight of the water.
The only day the backpack I really felt the weight difference was when we went out and we were out for half a day, and so we geared up for an all-day adventure. That's the only day where you and I we crawled back to the truck.
We did, but we went up a hill that was 65, 70 degrees. We crawled up the hill to get to where we were going.
And crawled back to the truck.
And then crawled back down to the truck. So...
But that was the only day that I really felt like the backpack, my gear really got heavy.
Right, and it just got heavy from being on all day. It wasn't...
undoable,
and it wasn't actually super heavy.
Let's just agree on this. Regardless of what backpack you bring, 5 out of 5. You gotta have it.
You gotta have it, but there are some features I think you must have.
I agree with that.
The chest strap,
yes.
the waist strap,
yes,
and the ability to carry that water bladder.
Absolutely, 100% agree.
Even if you gotta buy a water bladder separately, get one that has a hole in the top like this bag does. Mm-hmm. I'm pull this up here so those on the watching can see. Right here on top, it's got a hole for you to feed that hose through. It's got a clip on the inside that actually clips to the bag to make sure it stays upright for you.
And also, just so you guys know, we are not sponsored. This is all honest reviews. Even if we were sponsored, we're still going to give our honest opinion. This backpack, this brand, I absolutely love them. Oh, it's a great brand.
It's a great brand. It's a great backpack. I think it's a little overpriced because, again, I got a bag that did almost as well. I will say almost. Mine didn't do as well as yours because mine didn't have. Again, it didn't have those pads.
Oh, I know.
And that ventilation.
But like we said, having something
is better than nothing.
Good. But here's the thing, though. I also bought one of their higher end backpacks. They had I think it was like a 2000 or a 1500 that was like $150. So a lot more affordable in my opinion. I went for the 3000, which I think was like 250. I think it was 250.
Yeah, but I mean, there are options out there. I spent 50 on mine.
That's what I'm saying. You have a plethora range. You can spend as little or as much as you want, and they're all eventually going to achieve the same thing. It's just, again, what kind of hunting are you doing? And I bought a backpack. I felt like that was more suited for the style of hunting you and I do. I'm not saying that yours didn't do just as good, that yours performed well. I would support this brand 110%.
I'm going to support that brand 110%. But I'm also going to say that the bag that I brought
worked well. It did.
But mine is also a little more practical for at home use.
True.
As well.
I'll agree with that.
Yours is a very purpose driven.
Oh, it's a hunting backpack. That's what it is. It's a field backpack. Period. End of story. And I won't disagree with that.
Mine I can use for multiple applications.
So anyway, what was the thing you were talking about before we got this out? Saying that we didn't bring to the table.
Hold on, let me think about it for a second.
Okay. Was it the guns? Was it the loadouts?
No. Because we're going to talk about those later.
Oh, I know. Should we tell everybody what we took?
In a minute.
Okay.
The Axel GS Extreme Pros.
Oh, 2.0s. Yeah, our earbuds. Yeah,
our earbuds. So hearing protection is something that
we take seriously,
but it's something that when hunting, I feel like gets
overlooked
a lot because you don't want to put on hearing protection and not hear.
Using your senses is key to hunting, and hearing is probably the second most important sense I feel like you could have in hunting.
I agree because you want to be able to hear things walking through the woods,
cracking here yourself. Even how loud are you being?
How loud are you being? How quiet? How much quieter do you got to make yourself?
Right
now, the Axel, almost all the Axel products that I know of, have amplified hearing
up to a certain mark, and then they actually go noise canceling.
They up to a certain part, and then they're earplugs.
Right, exactly.
So we both have the Axel GS Extreme 2.0s.
Correct.
They are over the ear earbuds,
and they are not cheap. Let's just make that very clear. They are not cheap.
They are not cheap.
They're $200 earbuds,
but they are worth it.
Absolutely.
So those earbuds, like I said, they have a wire that goes
kind of like a hearing aid almost.
Yeah, almost like a hearing aid. The earbud goes in, wire wraps around the ear so it keeps it on your ears where you're walking, and then they also have a little clip to clip onto your collar. And those things, when you turn on the amplified hearing, they go from
like super hearing.
You can turn on the microphone, the amplification volume down to where it's
normal.
Normal, and
or you can turn it up to where you can actually hear like whispers sound like
6
someone.
Times
it's
normal
a lot.
Hearing. It's a lot, and I mean, we did that. We walked around with those on. Well, I walked around with those on more than you did because yours had an issue.
Well, but here's the thing, though. I would recommend those as much as I recommend this.
Oh yeah,
like absolutely. I think they're worth the money.
I do too. I'm the one that convinced you to buy yourself.
Oh, I literally tried yours on and I went because I use over the ear. Are they Warrens?
I'm not sure what your over ear ones are, but the over ear ones, big old ear muffs that
crush your head a little bit. And I tried yours on and I was like, because we were out in the field just shooting. I think we were doing the Ruger or the H&K, and I was like, yeah, let me try those. I put those in my ear and I went, okay. I literally went home and I was like, Justin, send me the link. Here's the link. Okay, cool. Bought them.
Yeah, but as you see our shooting videos, you see me wearing those.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the ones that I've had for a year and
a half now. Yeah.
But they go over the ear and into the earbud.
They're great.
They're fantastic. They're super comfortable.
Well, now let's talk about another thing, though, real quick on those.
On top of that, they also have a Bluetooth feature.
That's right. They do have the Bluetooth feature.
You can tie them to your phone. You can listen to music on them. And they've got a 20-hour battery life.
They do have a long battery life. And they're practical. You can use them in every application.
It's true. I mean, in construction, in shooting, in...
Everyday life.
Even
in the car.
Yeah. Because you can turn up that
Oh yeah, it's super hearing.
amplification.
Yeah, that's Superman hearing.
Get
going on.
Superman hearing going on. You can hear everything going on around you, but then if something loud happens, it cuts it off and
Yeah,
protects
great,
your hearing.
great device.
I love that
Mine,
product.
however,
Had a defect.
had a defect in the right ear, and they were making this really high-pitched shriek sound. Well, I
Almost
called.
like the microphone was too close. You know, you get a microphone too close to a
Yeah,
speaker.
it's like
You go, "Ee," you get the
Yeah.
mic feedback. You were getting that from it.
Well, I called Axel because I was just going to return them because I bought them off Amazon, and Axel is actually based here in Sandy, Utah, which we're in Tooele right now.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, I called their customer service, and the representative was like, well, we can do one of two things. You can either bring them in here, and we'll hand you a new pair, and we'll take the old pair, or you can return them, and we'll do it that way. And I was like, well, why would I'll just bring them into your office. And she said, okay, well, here, I'm going to email you all the paperwork. Email me the order number so I can send it over to that department. Okay, here you go. Just bring them into the office, and we'll swap them out for you.
They took care of you really fast. Really
It was
quickly.
very quick and very clean. There was no like, well, did you do this? Well, did you do that? No, she's like, okay, if you're describing it, the way you're describing it to me is obviously there's a short in the wire. There's a defect with them. And I told her, I said, look, I normally have been wearing a $60 over the ear headset, which work great. They're great $60 ear muffs because they're also the noise canceling. They're the
You've got a
yeah, I've got the
dial on the back there.
I just wanted the Axles because from you that just amazing.
I love
Total
those
game changer.
things.
Worth the $200. I mean, I went and spent an extra $140 to get these things, and I even said that. I said, "Well, no offense for $200," and the representative's like, "Absolutely."
Well, that's
care of it.
things. You called her. You told her you had a problem. You told her what the problem was, and she didn't question you. She didn't grill you. She's just like, "Well, how do you want to replace these? Do you?
Yeah. What do you want to do?
Do you want your money back? Do you want a new pair?
Absolutely, I wanted a new pair, and she's like, "Absolutely, let's get you a new pair."
Okay,
then."
let me take care of you and get you a new pair. I don't care that you didn't buy them directly from us. Here, send me your order number so I can keep track of what order number it was from Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she took the number and typed it in and
done.
said,
It's beautiful.
Here, fill out this, email you this one form, fill it out. And then, come into our office and we'll swap them out.
Absolutely. All right.
I mean, I had an issue with them too.
okay, but they
different issue.
stood behind it. Oh, but yours was a shipping issue.
Mine was a shipping issue. I paid for the expedited shipping. I bought them directly through Axel, and I paid for their expedited shipping.
and they wound up in Chicago or something like that.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Axel processed my shipping the same day I ordered it.
Right, and it took them, 2 weeks to get
It
to
took
you?
FedEx a week and a half to get them to me.
Well, and you called them, as I remember correctly, and
And
they're
I-
like,
but
you're
I-
right, you paid for the expedited shipping.
I
Here's your
called
money back.
Axel, and this was not a problem with Axel. I just called him and was like, hey,
Yeah.
I paid for the expedited shipping so I could get them faster. I live 20 miles north.
And I think you
20,
even
30
told
miles
them, you're
north.
like, had I known you guys were in
From
Sandy,
where their
I'd have
office
just
is.
drove to you guys and
That's
bought
what
them.
I told him. I was like, I drove down there, I'd have paid for them on the website, and then picked them up in store.
Right, on your way home from work or something. It would have been that
I was like,
easy.
I live 20, 30 miles from your office. I didn't expect it to take a week and a half to ship to me.
And the only reason in all fairness, that I didn't just go into the office is because I work out of state. And it was just easier for me to order them off Amazon and just have them shipped here to the house.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is I called him and was like, hey, I had this issue. And I've had this issue with FedEx a lot of times before. And so I was like, hey, I just want to give you a heads up that FedEx took forever. I recommend switching your shipping carrier to UPS because I've had a lot less problems with UPS.
Axel took care of you, though. They refunded your money for the expedited shipping. They didn't
I
even
didn't
question it.
even ask for the refund.
They just
wanted
gave
them
it to
know
you.
that, hey, FedEx is taking forever to send your products. This could be a problem in the future.
Right.
And the guy goes, oh, yeah, here's your expedited shipping feedback.
Yeah, no questions asked. It was
Just-
nice.
You know,
Great customer service. Recommend the product. Absolutely.
recommend the product, recommend the company. Love those guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's always good to support local, too.
It was good to support local, but I would buy from these guys again.
Oh, I would buy another pair, too. Absolutely. No questions asked. Let's get into what I know our viewers
Can
are
I
asking.
open my package now?
No, because we got one more
Oh.
thing. I know you want to open a mystery bag.
I want to open the mystery bag.
let's talk about our loadouts.
You brought.
I don't care about what I brought. I care about what you brought.
I'm just gonna say you brought 4 different guns, 5 different guns.
Meh.
I brought 2.
Meh.
I brought a 9mm pistol
Uh-huh.
for around camp, and in case
Sidearm.
just the
Sidearm.
sidearm in case you need it. And then I brought my Savage 110 6.5 Creedmoor.
Great gun. Did really well. Got your buck this year.
It did. And that's what I brought with me, and we'll talk about the guns more in depth when
when we
review
actually do the review on them.
But I felt I was using 143 grain ELDX Hornady rounds,
Great round.
which are fantastic rounds. Those are actually hand loads that I did.
Right. I remember that. You had hand loads. We
had-
both had hand loads.
We both had hand loads. I was using my hand loads, but that round is rated to take both elk and deer.
Correct.
You and I disagree on.
Well, I think we agree a little more now because we've both proven. I think we've both proven sides of our not our argument, but sides of our claim to each other, and we've disproven other sides of our claim to each other as well. So at the end of the day, I think what it comes down to now is it's not that we haven't made a good case or pleaded our case or the other one has not accepted it. It's personal preference at that point. At the point you and I are at.
But there are certain rounds and certain grain weights in each round
Right.
that you would not use for certain things.
Well, and that's where you get into my loadout. My loadout was a Browning BAR in a 300 Win Mag, and it was Browning's flagship model for the year. I think it was called the Onvix. I apologize if I'm butchering that. Anyway, solid rifle, beautiful gun, did well. Hand loads were 180 grain Accus.
Yeah, they were.
There were 180
the
Accubons.
180 grain Accubons.
And those were elk rounds. My loadout was a little different because 300 Win Mag, I kind of feel like sometimes a little too much for deer. I also had 125 Hornady. I want to say they were SSTs. They weren't ELDXs. They were something.
It's probably the SST line.
Yeah, I think they were the SSTs. They were 125. They were low load deer rounds that I had for the BAR. Great gun. The gun clocked in with the scope at about 10, right below 10 pounds.
We can talk about that when we actually talk about the rifle.
I am going to talk about one thing, though, on that gun. Great gun. Loved it. Still feel like it's a good choice. However, in the unit we were in, the scope that I put on it was a Vortex Viper PST 5x25 by 50. Not the right.
He went for long range when we needed medium to short.
And that's where I think I'm gonna. In fact, I don't think I know I'm gonna end up ripping that scope off because the gun's
It's
a
the wrong
semi-automatic
scope.
weapon.
It's the wrong scope for that gun.
My second gun I brought was a deer gun to swap out when the deer hunt opened on Wednesday, and it was my 6.5 Creedmoor, which is a Browning X-Bolt.
It's Browning X-Bolt, and you say my deer gun. It is still a deer
Well,
and elk gun.
I had 147 Nosler, and these were just factory loads that I bought for because I didn't have time to hand load these because it was kind of spur of the moment. I was either I did bring the 308, but I didn't. And because I still felt like I needed to tweak the scope a little bit, and the guy that was supposed to use the 308 this year never showed up.
That's true.
So I was using 148 Nosler long range Accubons in that one. So great round, also like the LDXs. Then I brought the camp gun, which is, I'm going to love doing the review on this gun, which was a Mossberg 464 30-30 lever action tack.
That's going to be an interesting review, folks. Please, when we do that one, tune in.
That one's going to be fun. It's great. It's a fun gun. It's a great camp gun. Anyway, after that, bull crap. You were holding it like this when you were guarding your deer.
I was not.
That was so funny watching you do that every time lights went by. Who's out there?
I looked out the window to see who was there because there was this one horse trailer that drove by our camp 7 times.
I could just picture you in your flipping underwear running out the door with that 30-30 going, who's out there? I could just see it.
Was not in my underwear when I had the deer.
I know.
No. That night I kept my sweatpants on and sweatshirt on.
I'm like, oh my God. I hope you didn't shoot that deer in your underwear. I don't remember seeing you in your underwear when you shot him.
You went completely wrong way with that. I don't know. I don't even know why you went the wrong way with that.
Anyway, the other 2 guns I had were a Dan Wesson 357 Snubby that I kept on the hip, and then the other one I left in the motorhome was my Beretta M9A3. So
yeah,
I kind of had an overkill on the arsenal. Again, though, it was the first year with the bar. And I feel like I learned a lot. But anyway, let's get into your mystery bag.
So, this mystery bag is not really a mystery bag. It
contains what we all need to have for hunting.
It's got your skinning and gutting tools. Now, there are many, many, many different ways to skin and gut deer and elk.
Apparently, I need to clean these a little better. You need to clean them.
No, I feel like you should clean them.
Okay. Anyway, let's start.
The reason you should clean them is because I don't think I'll clean them to your standard.
Oh, knock it off. You do fine. All right, I'm gonna let you talk about these 2 in a minute. I want to save those ones for last. Let's go through the easy ones real quick. I did have a ribcage spreader. It's upstairs in the garage right now. The other one that you're gonna want a bone saw. Again, my dad bought me a kit that had this in it. It was a combo kit. Had the bone saw, the rib cage spreader, and a couple knives in it. I have one of these. This is just a little K-Bar pocket knife. I really like this K-Bar pocket knife. Kind of reminds me of the old timers that used to be around. It's good steel, good knife. Just a good little utility knife to have.
It is. But this, not going to lie, overkill.
When do I not usually pack a couple extra things that are overkill?
Now, the bone saw, depending on the way that you're gutting your deer.
Like the original way we were doing was quartering, and it was we didn't have to do that method this time.
No. So, you can do what's known as the gutless method.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different methods.
The gutted method. And the gutless method, you don't need a bone saw.
No, you don't. No. It's just where you shot the buck, it was needed because we had to gut him right there. We weren't quartering him out. We took him in whole.
In whole. But
still something to have. I bought the canvas thing. This I just liked it. And I think it worked really well, so it'll stay.
It did.
Go ahead.
You didn't dry these off before you put them away.
Uh-oh, what's wrong with them now? They rusting on me?
They're
still wet. I'll clean them off.
They will rust if you don't clean those properly.
We'll get that cleaned off.
This one was a great knife for the gutting and skinning.
Now, what's amazing to me, though, is the company actually is known for making decent, high-end quality kitchen knives.
Yeah, these are the Doll Strong
Land Sharks.
Night Shark.
And it was a 3-pack for $100, and I was like, okay, I gotta get them.
Now, these are also NSF certified.
Remind me what that means again.
I forget the acronym for NSF, but it's one of the companies that monitors whether or not materials are good for use in professional kitchens and safe to use in professional kitchens. I feel like
when I bought this and I got these knives, though, Justin, I held these knives. Look at the grip on that thing. These knives me.
That's what I'm saying is these were fantastic.
These knives were meant to be field knives.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're sharp as crap.
You got a really nice rubberized textured grip that is conformed to I think most hand sizes. You've got a really nice finger grip on there, and
look at that, just right in there, just allows you to work.
They're fantastic. And then so that one you've got the bigger,
and you got the gut hook on it, and a little bit more of a
And so that one worked really good for the gutting of my deer.
That's the one you use the most, though.
This is the one I end up using the most. It's just a little paring knife, looks like.
But I think that's the way it's actually described on their on the box, is it's the paring knife.
But it is a very stiff steel. It's a very sharp knife.
See, the stiffness is what worried me a little bit when I got that, because it doesn't look like that blade is going to be really like stout. Looks like it might have a little bit of play or bend into it. But no, it was rock solid.
This was rock solid. And for all the fine detail.
Is that the one you sliced your knuckle off with?
I thought we weren't going to talk about that.
Sorry.
You're the one that said I wasn't allowed to mention it.
Oh, you can mention it. I don't care. I think it's kind of neat.
You told me I wasn't allowed to mention it, so I wasn't going to. But yes, so this one was able to do all the fine detail cutting with this one. And, skinning the deer, I broke a rule.
It's okay, Justin.
And anyone who knows anything about knife safety knows what rule I broke. When we talk about cutting my hand open, I cut the knife towards me. That's a no-no. Don't do that.
Justin, at the end of the day, though, you still had all the adrenaline pumping through. It was an honest mistake. None of us could get upset with you for that.
No. I'm just reminding folks this is why we talk about these rules. Because again, I flayed my knuckle, and it went pretty deep. Pretty much the whole underneath this Band-Aid here is loose skin.
We almost took you to the emergency room. I do remember that.
Yeah, we almost had to go to the ER for that, but that was just an accidental slip on the knife, and I felt like I barely got myself.
That just shows how sharp these things are. These things. I don't know if you guys can see it from here, but just look at the actual
They're
blade
not able
work.
to see that,
but just I'm just looking at this the razor blades on these things are amazing.
They're extremely sharp, and they came that way. We didn't do any work to
We didn't even put them through the belt or anything. And the other one, it's fair to mention that it's in the shooting bag, is the third item that came with this kit. It was the cleaver.
It was the cleaver, and there were a couple of spots that
it might have been helpful.
Might have been helpful, but not really. But no, I used the paring knife for the fine detail work. For the bulk work, I used the skinning knife. And these knives did amazing.
For $100 for all three of those knives, you had the paring knife, the skinning gut hook knife, and then you had the cleaver. It's like
you don't get much better.
Well, here's the thing. I have how do you pronounce it again? I always pronounce their name wrong.
They're Dahlstrong.
Dahlstrong.
So Dalstrong.
I have Dahlstrong kitchen knives upstairs in my kitchen, and I have a chef's knife, a vegetable knife, and then my wife has I can't remember what they're called. It's like a chopper, but it's like a cross between a cleaver and a vegetable knife. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
And I can't remember the name of it. It starts with an S. Anyone who knows, let me know. And those knives are phenomenal. Each one of those knives, though, cost me at least $80. That's why I was really skeptical of this kit, though, that they were selling, because I'm like, you want $100 for 3 knives. You guys are, even on Amazon, you guys are at least $60 to $80 a knife, regardless of size, shape, or form. And then you get up into your premium line, I'm $200 a knife. That's why I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical. In the end, though, I was like, oh my gosh, these things are amazing.
Well, that's just it, is you bought them. Unfortunately, you did not get to use them.
It's okay.
However, I got my animal, the animal I wanted, the buck, And I was able to use them to give them a proper test and review. And
I'd say for $100, you're stupid not to buy them.
I 100% agree.
I wouldn't even, literally, for everybody out there, in all honesty, the K-bar knife, it is overkill. I would say have a bone saw. I would say have a rib cage spreader.
Oh, the rib cage spreader is essential. The bone saw, again, depends on...
It depends on what method you're going with.
What method you're going with.
However, though...
Those other 2 knives?
Realistically, though, out of the 3 knives that came in that kit, these 2 knives alone are worth $100.
I almost would pay $100 per.
See, and that's what I'm getting at, is these knives are... I think they're a steal of a deal, man.
Oh, absolute steal of a deal. Because even after gutting and skinning that whole deer, they're still sharp.
Oh, absolutely. And there's no burrs, no nicks. I didn't see any deformation at all.
And
period.
I actually used that little paring knife just because it was the knife I had in my hand. I used the paring knife to cut through the ribs.
I remember that. I was watching. You literally went straight. And it wasn't even like you were using a lot of force either.
No,
it was just like,
It was just a quick pop, pop, pop,
Yeah.
pop, pop.
And it was done. Like, again, for $100, and the grips on them, the handles on them, that's what you want. You don't want them to slide.
As I was doing this whole thing, the knife
stayed
in my hand that I was using that knife with, stayed there, never moved, never slid. They did get bloody, but they stayed.
They're knives.
But that's what I'm saying. They got bloody and slick and didn't
care. Well, and see, that's the thing, though, that I think a lot of people need to realize, and to all of our viewers out there, knives are really cool. I enjoy knives. We both collect knives. At the end of the day, though, when I feel like if you're going to buy hunting knives, it's like my dad taught me. A lot of the knives that we buy are for show, okay? When you have a knife that's got a handle like this, that's very smooth, kind of got some cool design work on it.
Which we have a couple of them.
We have a lot of them, let's not lie.
But
you're going to slip out of your hand.
I mean,
when you're doing stuff,
and
when your hands, like Justin said, when they get wet, when they get dirty, you want to make sure that it's not gonna. That's what I'm saying, though. But what we're saying is, you want to make sure that the knife does not have a chance to leave.
You want a knife that
hand. Now,
I'm holding onto this with the same force that I did that right
and
there,
you're not sliding,
and it's not going anywhere.
Now, like this one,
this smooth grip
is going to leave your hand. Oh yeah, it'll leave your hand. Now, like this one, kind of the same deal. Again, this knife is kind of another version of this one a little bit. Again, though, put some meat on that one, and
it's still harder
slides.
to slide, but it still slides.
These ones don't move. Again, though, I see a lot of the knives out there. Like I even had I have a SOG Seal Pup. Again, very heavy, aggressive, textured knife. Good knife for the $45 I paid for it. For $100 for this kit, and I wish I had the. You know what? Hold on a second. I'll be.
You're gonna go get it, aren't you?
Give me 2 seconds. I actually think I know where it's at because I have the bag right here that it was in.
But no, $100, and I hope they're still.
High-end German steel knives is.
I hope they are still on sale for that much.
That's their normal price. They weren't on sale.
Well, then, quickly, folks, buy them. I mean,
that's the cleaver.
That's the cleaver that came with it. And it is.
Well, and it's not huge. That is something you could use in the field, and it's light. That thing does not feel like a normal meat cleaver to me at all.
No, but it is.
I know you're looking at it like, holy crap.
It's a big knife. It's not super practical.
Well, that's why it was in the bag that it was in. I brought it just in case we did need something like that. At the end of the day, though, I mean, you started with this.
No, so I started actually with a different set of knives entirely.
Which one did you? Oh, did you start with yours?
I started with one of my knives that I tried to start with it, and then
Oh, that's right. You had that little that buck, right? The little folding knife.
so I had the little folding knife that I was trying to do some of the precision work with, but it wasn't as sharp as
Yeah.
it needed some love, and I forgot to sharpen it before we went out, and so I was like, oh crap, well I'll go get a paring knife, and
I think where
it did beautiful.
And I think this is something that we need to mention again. We did not sharpen these knives out of the box. These knives were field ready right out of the box. That's the key right there, is because I know some people out there, a lot of people probably, don't have the tools and resources that we have, or some maybe even the time to make sure all their knives are ready to go for a hunt. So you need to make sure that your tools and equipment are ready out of the box. This set is 110% ready out of the box.
That's the thing, is if you're going to be doing this type of work, you need to get the tools to maintain your stuff.
I agree. However,
if you are
just leave it open. We gotta clean those. Remember. Continue. Sorry.
If you're just starting out and you want to get something that you can take out in the field and then work on the maintenance stuff later. Beautiful.
I can tell you right now, though, those knives for $100, those things are going to last. I don't know. I'll let you know how many years they're going to last. I feel like those things are at least going to be 5-10 year knives.
I feel like those knives, as long as we take good care of them, will give us at least 5 or 10 years before those grips start to wear out. I don't think we're going to have an issue with the steel. I think it's going to be the grips. And at that point,
we'll buy new ones.
We'll either buy new knives or we'll find
honestly,
can put a grip just like that back on.
I would almost buy another set just to have another set up in the closet. As weird as that sounds, that's how much weird. I'm impressed by the phenomenal knives.
Great knives. But, folks, we have reached that time. That's pretty much everything we brought with us. Again,
I don't know. Do you feel like there was anything that you didn't bring that we kind of felt like we needed?
Not a damn thing.
The only thing I feel like maybe would have been a lighter weight hunting vest. Justin, really quick, right before we let our viewers go, we hinted at the next episode's review. Is it still the same one?
Yeah, this is episode 4. So, it might be.
Here's the thing, folks. I've looked for reviews on this one. They really aren't out there. So you're going to want to stick around for this if you're even thinking about buying this rifle.
It is one of the rifles that we talked about today. We say we talk about all things firearms. Realistically, we're going to talk about all things firearms, all things gear, and we're just going to lump it all together. If it has anything to do with
shooting, hunting,
a firearm sport,
yep,
we're going to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, this was here's what our hunting loadout this year was, and would we buy and use these things again? And absolutely. Again, King's Camo.
Shout out to them.
Do great.
Axel, we'll take a shout out to Axel. Vortex. All of our scopes were Vortex this year, folks. So
they were all Vortex.
Huge shout out to Vortex.
Took good care of us this year. The only things that we didn't take out that were Vortex was your rangefinder and my binoculars, which were both Bushnell.
I stand behind Bushnell. I think Bushnell is still a great company.
I do agree as well. But again, everything else from your binoculars to the scopes on all of the rifles that made it out in the field were Vortex.
Well, and here's the other thing with Vortex, so I'm just going to throw this out real quick. I love their customer service. I love the people at Vortex. Again, folks, we're not sponsored. We would love to be sponsored. At the end of the day, though, none of these companies pay us to talk favorably about them.
If we're talking favorably about a company, it's because they took good care of us.
And they have good product.
We actually believe in their product.
I can tell you right now, even if we were sponsored by this company, Dahlstrong, and the knives were crap.
We'd tell you it's crap.
We tell you it's crap. I'm not going to lie to you.
We would.
I can't do it.
Here's the thing: if a brand sponsored an episode and sent us some stuff to review and we didn't like it, we'd probably return their sponsorship fee and we'd give you the review.
I'd probably just say, hey, look, guys, you probably don't want to sponsor the episode because after we went out and did it, we're not really looking upon you guys that favorably.
That's the thing is, we might actually tell them, look, man,
here's your money back. Sorry,
we can't give you a positive review, and we refuse to be bought. So,
kind of it. Anyway, though, the QE backpacks, amazing backpacks, everything here that we've got has been phenomenal.